Should see a series of 3 charts in a separate chart window. 2 time frames for the S&P 500 E-mini and a 30-year bond chart. Hey, Joel, good morning. Everything we do is for educational purposes only. Nothing is to be taken as direct trading advice. You're trading between you and your broker. This is an educational opportunity to learn how to scalp the S&P 500 E-mini and look to scalp it for a profit against your seat fee, your commissions, your other fees, whatever fees there are, and hopefully get you to profitability whether you are a new trader or an experienced trader before you get whacked over the head with a pan by your significant other or whomever telling you get on with it based on your current business. We've seen that very often, is that traders out there take way too long to make money. And that way too long costs their nest egg or their trade egg. I shouldn't say nest egg, right? Their risk capital. And they get sort of put into a box where they are struggling, and then they get nervous, and then they push it. And unfortunately, it ends up in a situation where they are up against it on a daily basis. And unfortunately, that leads to bad trades. So let's talk about the roadmap that Saul, who is your host and mentor, is going to set for himself so he has an orderly trading plan for today. And he has an opportunity, a real opportunity, to have a successful execution of his trading plan. So let's think about that for a second. Saul is going to step in here. He's going to take over the mic and he is going to go through the morning session with you. And who could that be on the phone? Do you think it's the lotto? Hold on one second. Let me see. Well, that was a robocall. And they got a job to do too, but I wish they wouldn't call my cell phone. Actually, I don't wish they wouldn't call my cell phone. I demand that they don't call my cell phone because it is a real drag to have them do that. I mean, it's a real drag because I think it's somebody important when they get to my cell phone. And they call with these robo dialing things that randomize numbers, so you can never get them. It doesn't matter that you have to have a list of people that can get through because they're all getting through. But anyway, I digress. So yes, this is an opportunity to learn how to scalp the market based on a trading strategy, a trading discipline that you can learn. It's really as simple as that. So stick around, sign up for Sol's Monthly, ask questions, interact, be part of the solution to your trading. And I guess I should say work Sol into your solution of, to consistent profitability. And that's the opportunity that presents itself here on a daily basis. Now, questions, Saul loves questions. Don't hesitate to ask them. Set yourself up with an S&P 500 E-mini chart. Look at Sol's charts as a reference to be able to do that. If you're coming in from the outside, join us on the inside. Look for the link to come in. There's an opportunity for you to move from being part of Sol's family, which is his monthly, to discussing Sol's course and his mentoring work and the opportunities presented by that. And again, trading is like the easiest and the hardest way to make money. That is a quote from somebody else. Standing on the shoulder of somebody that has done it or is doing it is our humble opinion here, is the way to go. And Saul, in this case, is that individual. When he pops in, he's going to give out this morning's levels. These are areas of interest today. He does a great or has a great way of explaining what he does. During the session. But again, he likes to have interaction and questions based on the trade. He is scalping and trading himself during this trading morning. He's trying to be done, in the first series of trades, but it could take a little bit longer. If you need help with your trading software or getting set up properly or want to know if you are set up properly, join the family. Raise your hand for the opportunity to be part of this on a monthly basis based on his subscription. If you haven't done it already, take the time to do it. If you're a guest, welcome as a guest. Takes a day or two to figure out if you want to stay, and we welcome you to do so. And again, trading is about looking to develop consistent profitability. You can trade, make money, trade, lose money, trade, make money, trade, lose money. At the end of the week, you have no money. We want to help you change that so that you do your 2, 3, maybe 4 trades and then be done for the day. That is true, Pedro. He said bulls and bears make money, pigs get slaughtered. And that's the greed factor. What I think I should tell you right now is that Saul has some trading bans, right? He's looking for a minimum trading profit on each trade of 2 points. A minimum trading profit on each trade of 2 points. That expands based on market action activity. And actually, I keep saying 2 points. It's 2 points plus. He will look to take more if it's available based on that trade, but he's pretty happy banking his 2 points because it's money to him, and it gets harder and harder based on price change to get 3 points, 4 points, and 5 points. So that's the greed factor. He has a 2-point stop, and that expands based on market conditions, volume, follow through, momentum. And I would venture to guess that his entries, exits, and stops are different than you take now. Different than you take now in your trades or as you put on your trades. Wow, interesting. Well, you made the right move when you signed up for Sol's Monthly. I think it's very good feedback, and we appreciate all feedback. I know Sol does. And there seems to be more people coming into the trading community because and actually, I say this is the hardest and easiest, or easiest and hardest way to make money. There is a method to the madness when it comes to trading, that when you stand on the shoulder of people that have done it before you, there is a huge advantage to you, as a trader, to have that guidance and to also have the ability to kick around thoughts, receive clarification on what you're thinking, and and also weed out the bad stuff, the stuff that is deluding you. And you have the opportunity to have that relationship with Saul. He's been doing this for 25 years or so. He's like he could be a trading shrink also. You have the doctor of trading distress. He is certainly a trading shrink, or at least he professes to be.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Can everybody hear me all right? I was wondering when you're going to take a breath so I can jump in there. Pretty amazing.
I sound like the cola nut guy.
You sound like the ever ready battery guy.
That's right. That's right. Okay, well,
A little bunny.
I'll go off and do all my things in the back end, my friend.
Okay, you do that.
I'll keep the back end going for you.
Yeah. All right, let's give you our levels for this morning. Our pivot this morning is 38.31. 38.31. Little resistance up here at 37. Better resistance at 43. 52, 62, and 69. Support below at 24, 18, 11, 04, and 37.94. Pivot 31, support 24, 18, 11, 04, 37.94. Resistance on the upside, slight resistance here at 37, better at 43, 52, 62, and 69. All right. Today is February 4th. As the day goes on, this is unemployment week, which means tomorrow unemployment is going to be released. Always a market watcher to see how that works. Initial claims came out this morning. It got a 7 handle, so we're staying in the 7 handle, but still a huge number of 700 plus 770. I think the number was very big number. New unemployment claims. That hasn't really turned around, but hopefully with the vaccines being distributed quicker, and hopefully more people get it, and they expand the who can get it, you'll be able to. These numbers should be able to rotate down a little bit, especially you got the restaurant industry hopefully coming back a little bit. At least in Illinois anyway, we opened up a little bit more, as the numbers here over the past few weeks have definitely been better. If you all look at the chat box area, you will notice the levels that are printed out for us. We can put them out periodically in case you missed them, but hopefully you can write them down. And those are kind of the guiding posts to today's trading. We take, we have a little opportunity here to trade, and we don't know which way markets are going, but at least this is a kind of a start for us where we think the markets might stop because we don't believe the markets go straight up or straight down. Consequently, we're looking for those inflection points that give us scalping opportunities. With this kind of volatility, we're looking more to 2 to 3 points profit targets with the same amount of stops. And that is due to the volatility. When things are tight like this and things are not crazy running all over the place, 2 to 3 points is a viable number for us to try to maintain and achieve. And we do that, we try to do it consistently using, like I said, the support and resistance levels in addition to price action opportunities once the market paints some bars. And if you were with us yesterday, you saw that there were ample price action opportunities once, not in addition to our levels. I talked about some of them. I mentioned some of them. It's one of those things that I don't. Those are the things that we kind of teach in our education course, so that you can pinpoint those opportunities on your own, to find them on your own, to take the ones that you like. We have multiple reasons to trade. But that's the goal of the education course is for you to trade independently. That's so you can become an independent trader. That's what they call me sometimes. Well, they used to anyway. Well, I still am, but that's what I'm teaching. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do here. Trying to help you understand some of these markets, understand some of the reasons the markets flip around. Try to find a logical reason to trade, and if we can find those logical reasons to trade, it'll give you confidence in entering those trades and then hopefully being profitable. Obviously, not every trade that anybody has is going to be profitable. That's the nature of the business. But overall, as long as we maintain our discipline and maintain the understanding that this is a business that we come into every day, it's not a set business that you are going to have somebody tell you exactly what you should be doing. It was a nice rotation here off of our 37 level, came right up to 37 there, and if you got the trade in, you got scaled in one way or the other. If you scaled in at 36, or if you scaled in at 36 and a half, hopefully, or even if you maybe you would have got the 37s, I don't know, but you got a nice rotation there off of our first resistance level. Again, this is we're trying to take advantage ebbs and flows, and we're looking for 2 points, 3 points on our trades. You can see you got them very easily here without even having to take any heat whatsoever. Obviously, the 37 was the high, so that was kind of nice of it. So depending on how you entered your trade, how you scaled in, hopefully you were able to take advantage of this first rotation here off of our 37 area. That's what we try to do here. We're just trying to take advantage of these opportunities that the market presents itself with. Sometimes it happens multiple times in the course of a day, and sometimes we have to wait a little bit until something gets triggered. Either way, the most important thing that I can probably tell anybody here is to be patient and wait for the opportunities to present themselves versus going in there and just trading. I know some of you get an itch to have to trade, but I can tell you that if you are patient, wait for the opportunities to present themselves, especially if you have good reasons to trade, then you will, I think, at the end of the day, be a little bit profitable, only because you're taking the opportunities that will give you a chance to maximize your profits, which is what everybody tries to do here. If anybody has any questions, make sure you put them in the chat box area, as we're getting a nice rotation here off of our 37 area. Hopefully some of you are able to take advantage of that trade, as this is what we try to do here. We're finding these inflection points that, and if you didn't take it, I understand, especially because it's the first bar or first 5 minutes of the trade. Sometimes it gets a little volatile, or a little bit more volatility that happens in the first a couple bars. So some of you like to step back and wait. Again, that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. We all have the ability to be patient and pick your spots. That's the most important thing. That's all we're trying to do here is pick our spots. So hopefully, again, if you took it, you got a nice rotation there off of it. And now we're coming back down here to our pivot. This is where if you still have them, I would probably cover and be a nice little trade. All right, so we got a quick example of what we try to do here on an everyday basis. Obviously, they're not always this easy, and they're not always this legitimately perfect. Right up to 37 and back. Sometimes we get run over and we have to manage the trade or get out of it and come back in it. Not that one, but another one. And it's you have to start off from a negative point of view, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The point is that you have to take each trade as one issue and one situation, and then close that book on that situation and then open up another one. And hopefully by the end of the day, we are going to be profitable, and we'll wait for tomorrow. That's what we try to hope here. Can somebody let me know what the VIX is at right now, with the fact that we're almost back up here at our highs, and after our last couple of days of volatility from Wednesday on, 22, right? 22 is the VIX. Very, very. It's you get into the high teens, and they're really sucking up the volatility here. Thank you very much there, Padro. They're really sucking out the volatility once we get into the high teens. But it'll be slow trade then. Yeah, when the markets are whipping around, the VIX is probably in the high 20s, 30s, even if in the 40s. That's when things are really whipping around. We like that. But then again, that's a different kind of trade than we have right now. Those opportunities and those stops are extended a little bit, and probably would have to be larger than 2 to 3 points. But we understand that. As long as you understand what the market is presented to you, then you can obviously trade with that in mind. So we keep that in mind. So when there's more volatility, your stops are extended a little bit, and you have to, and also your price targets are extended. Because you have to take into consideration the slippage that's involved on the markets. Get into those high VIXs. But for the time being, with this rotation off of those lows from Wednesday, the VIX has definitely come back in here into the quiet area, and we'll see what the market gives us. Now, this is interesting as we've come back up here. I think this is last day and a half, coming up on 2 days now. You can see we've got ourselves in a little bit of a range. All right. And maybe consolidating here a little bit, maybe waiting for the unemployment number tomorrow to see what direction we're going to go from here. Are we going to continue and make new highs? Or are we going to, accept what's going on? And I would assume that things are getting better, but who knows? I don't trade numbers. I don't try to figure out what numbers are going to tell me or do for me. I just take one day at a time. But the market the markets from the price action over the last a day or so, it looks like that they are trying to come back up here, and nervousness of the GameStop situation is kind of ran its course. Oh, I hate F days. Are you kidding? F days? No. F days I don't like. I like volatility. I just don't like F days. You give me volatility on any normal day I like, but not on an F day. Talking about two different things. Of course, I'll give you a call a little later today. I did not. I saw your text came in a really weird time yesterday, and I didn't have a chance to give you a call back or text you back, so I'll give you a call later today. All right, so nice rotation there off of our pivot. I got down to the 31 area. If you are, I suggested if you were short there, you get out of any shorts. If you maybe got long there against our pivot blue band, nice rotation here off of it. So another little opportunity there for some of our traders who trade a rotation back to our pivot off of a level. That was a nice little trade for you if you were able to get in. And so even though it's a very tight range and nothing really is going on, we had a couple of nice little opportunities there to help us with scalping the market. I mean, that's all we're trying to do here is we're trying to scalp the market. So in this little 5-6 point range here, if you sold at 37s, bought them back in, even if you just took 2 points, or if you bought the pivot and sold those after 2 points, you're up maybe 4 or 5 points in a 6 point range. It's pretty good, right? That's pretty good for you guys if you were able, just a little aggressive maybe. I mean, if I was, that would be really good, right? So hopefully, maybe that's how we kind of do our thing here. It's obviously a little less volatility here, so you can take these opportunities a little bit more because the volatility is not as great. It doesn't whip around so much. All right, so we've come up here into this little range, but again, that's fine with us because at least we were able to take advantage of this range. Like I said, we had initial claims that came out this morning at 7:30, and now there's only there's a small number here. There's a factory orders number that's going to be released at 9 o'clock. Sure. It's not necessarily the pivot as where we're going to starting point. It's just where the market will gravitate to. That's what the pivot is, and if we can extend from it one way or the other, at least you have at least initially a direction of the market. Doesn't mean that it's going to continue to go that way, but at least it's there. But the pivot is good for us to trade around sometimes when we get some volatility and movement. So it's not only going one way or the other. And then the green bands is just a moving day average, a 200 moving day average, and a blue band is a Bollinger Band. The red bands are the extension of the Bollinger Bands, which I really don't bother with too much. They just come with the program, so they look good, right? I got red, I got blue, green, black bars, kind of a little colorful. I'm sure it's some kind of nation: red, black, blue, white, red, green. But yeah, so yeah, we focus more on the green bands and the blue bands versus the red bands. They don't do me much good, but they just come with the program, so I had no choice. It's fine. I don't care. Like I said, it just looks good. We keep it simple here. We don't get too complicated. I feel that if you can simplify, this business is hard enough as it is. If somebody can post the numbers in the chat box area, so you'll see what the levels were for today. If you look at the chat box area, that's what the levels were that we gave out this morning. Thanks. And so we can use those as a guide, like I said. Nice rotation off of 37, coming back to the 31, which is our pivot. And now we're just kind of hanging here. This is, as you can see here, over from today is Wednesday. So late Monday, yesterday, today we're mired in this. It's creating value here, just back and forth in a range. It's consolidating here, trying to see what our next step would be, which way we're going to go. So like I said, if you were a little aggressive there, maybe you took our couple trades that we had in here, and if you did, you took out pretty much most of the range as we've been at that intraday range. So we have a small number coming out here at 9 o'clock. Then we do have a couple Fed speaks at 12 o'clock, at 1 o'clock. So in case, you're around then and you wonder why the market made some kind of jolt. We do also have earnings are coming out this after the market closes. Usually there are some that are released during the market open. Next level on the upside that we have as resistance is the 43 area. So we have a couple. Most of the companies report after the bell, but for the most part, most of the companies report after the market closes, and that way we stay away from the last couple hours of trading anyway. Seems like the volatility in the market action is different than it is in the morning hours, the ones that we're looking at. The Biden administration moving full speed ahead with a $1.9 trillion coronavirus economic relief plan after House Democrats adopted a budget resolution that would enable the bill to pass with a simple majority. Despite public debt load of $27 trillion, the consensus stance from the Democratic camp is not making the case for fiscal restraint at this stage in the recovery. Stocks have been buoyed by stimulus efforts in recent days, with the major averages set to open in the green for the fourth straight session. The idea here is that with interest rates at essentially zero, any growth seen from the measures will pay back the borrowing, while it would cost the economy more if the government does not go through with the spending. Economic policymakers from Treasury Yellen to Chair Powell have also urged administrations to act big, believing in a big run that would benefit in the long run that would benefit will far outweigh the costs. Republicans, meanwhile, want something more targeted and are seeking to ensure the funding from Congress more recent stimulus aid is fully spent first. Their bill also doesn't include state and local aid, paid sick leave, a 15 minimum wage, and expansion to child tax credits. So again, the market is kind of looking forward to this stimulus thing. It continues to trade up here on their highs. The next level on resistance we have is the 43 area. Biden likely remembers Obama's first term in office, where he spent much time trying to secure GOP support for additional stimulus measures during the global financial crisis. Obama pushed for a $1 trillion stimulus package, or roughly 25% bigger than the record-setting legislation that ultimately got through. Congress, though this time around the Republicans' proposal is less than a third of the 1.9 trillion Biden proposal. While President Biden has signaled some areas of compromise and met with GOP senators over a smaller $600 billion offer, he won't ditch an overall package for the sake of bipartisanship. Time is luxury our country does not have, sentiment, not a majority leader, Schumer said before moving forward with the budget process. Some consensus may be seen with the stimulus check, and Biden has indicated that direct payments could be sent to smaller groups of Americans. Previous checks were given to citizens making under $75,000, but that is now likely to be reduced to $50,000 and would cut the total price tag of the COVID bill. Yeah, no, sorry about that, Don. It just doesn't always do what you wanted to do, right? When you wanted to do it. All right, we came up here to the 41-ish area. We had 42. Be a little bit of 43, so I guess we got a little bit of space up there. Give us, we come rotating back. So we have a small number coming out here at 9 o'clock, just in case you are concerned. Given the scarce supplies across the world, new vaccine trials launched in the UK will explore whether using different coronavirus vaccines work for the first and second dose. The trial, led by the University of Oxford and run by the National Immunization Schedule Evaluation Consortium, oh, that's a big name, will last for 13 months, recruit 820 participants over the age of 50. It's being backed by a $7 million government fund from the Vaccine Task Force. This is in the UK, which was set up by the UK last April to research and produce a coronavirus vaccine. If we do show that these vaccines can be used interchangeably at the same and the same schedule, this will be greatly increase the flexibility of vaccine delivery and could provide clues as to how to increase the breadth of protection against the new vaccine strains. The trial now will specifically examine the immunization response from initial doses of Pfizer and AstraZeneca and vice versa. The intervals of 4 to 12 weeks. Researchers will increase antibodies, T-cell responses, as well as monitor for any unexpected side effects. All right, well, that's good to know that they're working hard on it. Like I said, hopefully they figure out all this stuff a little sooner than later, that's for sure, because everybody's kind of sick of staying home. All right, so we're kind of slowly inching up here. Came back down in maybe 32, 33 area, low support. Pivot there at 31. So at least you know where the support level is. Up here, next resistance is the 43. Kind of a little range bound. See what it wants to do. There are a lot of rumblings in the auto sector, especially surrounding electric vehicles and a chip shortage that's hitting the industry. Strong demand across the United States and China continues to be received favorably by investors, triggering a broad rally across the EV landscape. According to data, EV sales in the United States climbed 4% in 2020. That's it? Outperforming the auto market, down 15%. Oh, okay. Mostly from the introduction of the Model Y. Tesla also extended the sector domination of 78% of battery EVs sales. Kind of interesting. I mean, I heard that GM saying that they're going to go completely EV by 2035. So Be around the corner. They are kind of cool. I don't know if anybody's driven into a Tesla. They are kind of a cool little car. It lights up for you. I'm sure if that thing, it's got to be just like your computer at home when it doesn't work and you're like, I have no idea why. You push the button and you're hoping that the thing starts and it doesn't, and you're like, doesn't say anything to you, just like your computer at home does when it's not working and you're like, what's going on here? And then you start like turning it on and off, putting on, restarting it. That's all you need to do with your car, right? That could be a little pain in the buttocks if you if you have no idea. You're just looking at a hunk of steel there that's not doing anything, doesn't start, doesn't do anything. Yeah, but yeah, whatever. Just thought came across my mind. I don't know why. It's like sometimes when your battery runs out, the car just doesn't even do anything. Just you're starting the car doesn't turn over, doesn't do anything. You're like, what the hell's going on here? Can you imagine with an electric car? Well, I mean, yeah. Well, let's not hope that you might lose all your. You might have to sit and boot it up. I mean, restart it by recharging it. But I heard that some of these cars can go for like 500 miles. Some of the newer cars without a recharge. I mean, most people don't drive 500 miles in a day, so you can definitely loop around in a day doing whatever. Unless you live in Texas, of course, where if you go from one side of Don's estate to the other, it might take you half a day to go back and forth. So it could be a problem for you, Don. Never thought of that. You might have to stick to your, diesel powered cars for a while. I know you're gonna stick with the flip phone and your your crank cars that you have. I got you. I understand. We have a small number coming out here in about a minute or so. Apple Car reports suggest that the company is close to finalizing a deal with Hyundai to manufacture an Apple-branded autonomous electric vehicle at the Hyundai assembly plant in West Point, Georgia. Oh my God, an autonomous electric vehicle. Don, now you're talking. You get in the car, you don't have to do anything. Just tell the car where to go and it goes. The vehicle will be in production in 2024. Wow. And would be designed to operate without a driver and focus on the last mile delivery robot taxis. Smartphones are a $500 billion annual total addressable market. Apple was about 1/3 of this market. Mobility market is at 10 trillion. So Apple would only need a 2% share of this market to be the size of its iPhone business. Think about that. Think how cheap Apple is right now, as far as the stock is concerned and the potential they have, right? I mean, that's crazy. All right. So now the problem here is that we have a number coming out and we're getting close to 43. So we don't like to trade around a number. Never know what this number is going to do. So you have to be a little bit careful there around the 43 as we're testing the highs right when this number is released. Now it's a small number, I'll grant you that, but you never know. All right, so it is. I really didn't load up the. All right, quickly coming up here to the 43 area. Okay, again, if you're taking the level, you got to just scalp it to be a little bit careful. Again, it's right on the heels of a number, so it's a little bit trickier to trade. Don't like to trade when numbers come out, but this is where it's at. So if you're not going to trade right now, I understand. And just wait for the initial burst of the number to be absorbed. All right, so nice little rotation here off of 43. If you did take the level straight up, it was a nice quick rotation there off of our 43 level. And if got down to 41 there, and hopefully you took some profits. A quick little scalp here against the number. And if you want to try to stay short, have a trailing stop, I would definitely keep a tight 2-point stop on this, on anything left over, only because just to keep a tight 2-point stop on this one. Anything above 45, you want to be out of any shorts. That's my point there, Don. Of course, you'd have to charge it up on the other side of your estate. And then before you can come back home. I get you. But it's only 30 minutes, right? It's not like it's all day. I mean, if you're going to drive 500 miles to go check out the west part of your estate, you're going to stay there for more than 30 minutes. You're not going to get there and then leave right away. All right. So if you're trying to stay short here against this 43 area, I would cover them down at the 36 or 35. This is how you take a little bit more than 2 points on your trades. If you can manage to trade multiple contracts, you can start peeling some off a little bit at a time as the market continues to downtick. And that way you get yourself a nice little opportunity to take more than 2 points on some of these opportunities that we have. So it's a nice little trade here for us against the secondary level that we had here up here at 43. And it was close to the number. That was the only issue there. Maybe you lightened the load there a little bit. Again, we're trying to take advantage of ebbs and flows of the market using the levels that we gave out. These are just the straight out levels, but it doesn't mean that's the only opportunities we have. In addition to those, we also have price action opportunities. We had a little buy there when it dipped down to the 31 earlier. If you were a little aggressive, you held the blue band, you could have been a buyer there as well. All depends on how much risk you want to take and how much you want to trade. Everybody's got different risk tolerances in addition to how much their cost of doing business is concerned. So we try to keep all of that into consideration as you're trading, and you have to find the combination of trades and how much you want to trade and risk and how much you want to manage your risk to maximize your profit potential on an individualized basis, because like I said, everybody's got different risk tolerances. Some people take more than 2 points on some of these trades when you can have a nice rotation like this. We also had the same rotation off of the 37 area where you could have taken a little bit more. Some of you might have skipped the trade altogether because of the closeness to the number. Some of you might lighten the load a little bit. Hopefully you still were able to take advantage of it. But either way, that's okay. You can just be patient and wait for the next opportunity. If you're trying to hold on to any shorts, I'll cover them, like I said, around the 35, 36 area, if we can get down there. All right, so that was a nice little quick trade there. If you were able to jump aboard, take that opportunity. Could you have stayed long? Like I said, you could have made a case for staying long since we held 32, and maybe a little bit of a buy there above the 37. Again, all depending on how aggressive everybody wanted to be here, and that's always it's always the difference between traders, right? Is how aggressive you want to be, which is fine. Everybody's got their own risk tolerance. Again, that's why I keep saying, when somebody asks me about my record and how we do here, we're trading, and everybody trades differently. Some people took the trade, some people didn't. It doesn't matter. You just look for the next opportunity. You close out the trade and look for the next opportunity. All right. So we didn't get down to the 37. If you're like I said, if you're going to keep any, definitely keep your 2-point stop. At 45 and above, you definitely want to be out of any shorts if this thing continues to rally here. Anybody have any questions? Feel free to ask them in the chat box area. We like questions. Helps me understand if you're getting this or not. So, and again, we're here every day. We used to be on the Florida exchange, but COVID. COVID. You know how that goes. All right. So, again, any questions? Feel free to ask. Well, I mean, it all depends on the question is, do I ever add to if the trade is going in your favor, do you add to it? I would say probably I don't. I like to take advantage of the trade that I got myself into. If I wanted to trade more at a level, I would have put more contracts out there. But yeah, I mean, I think that I don't usually do that. It's not my thing. But some people like to add on, and I understand that. Doesn't mean that it's wrong for adding on. Just means that you like to add on. That's not what I do, though. I mean, but again, that's just me. I know a lot of traders want to make sure it's like a confirmation type of thing. You start off at the level, and then you see it going your way, and then you want to add on to it because you had confirmed the level was good. All right. My philosophy is that, well, I mean, if you're adding on and not taking profits, then when you doesn't continue to go your way, you just doubled your you just added on and you have more risk, and Sometimes it's that adage where instead of taking your profits, you're adding on, and you want to be the ones that are taking profits when everybody else is adding on, right? That's what you want to do as a trader. You want to get in at a good price, and then when everybody else has finally figured out, oh, this thing's going down, let's jump on. You want to take some profits, just like the GameStop thing. So these guys who had the beginning of this grandiose idea that let's go squeeze the shorts. They started buying it initially, and then they put it out to their minions that hey, let's all go screw let's go screw this hedge fund, because you know what? Because that's what we want to do. Why not? Let's go screw a hedge fund. Because why shouldn't we screw a hedge fund? Well, what great idea was that? Let's screw the big guy. Oh, but wait a second. Who bought it from initially? Who bought the GameStop initially? Oh, it's another big guy. Bought the GameStop initially and then told his minions to go buy it all. They go buy it all, and who's selling it to him? Oh, the original guy who told him to go buy it. Hey, a scam. That's what you actually want to do, right? I mean, what a convoluted concept of what's going on with that, with somebody trying to screw somebody else. It's just amazing to me. Are we finally in double digits with GameStop, or are we going to just think it's going to stay at $400? You know how I feel about that. So it's people who don't have no idea how trading is decided, let's get involved in this GameStop thing because, hey, why not? Sounds like a great idea. How are they doing? Oh yeah, I'm buying it and I'm never getting out. That's what I heard one kid say. It's like, what? What? I'm buying it and I'm never getting out. It's going to go to 1,000. Okay. If you didn't know that was the time to sell it, I don't know what else could have been the time to sell it. But hey, I'm not. Don't get me involved in that conversation. Nothing like having people who have no idea what trading's all about to actually, let's go screw someone. Okay. Good idea, except they're already long. Oh my God. Glad you asked. Aren't you glad you asked the question? The initial, Wall Street Bets is part of Reddit, which put out this buy thing, right? And all the people who runs Wall Street Bets. I mean, they're the ones who, they initially started this thing. And I'm sure they have enough money to go buy it first, and then go tell all the people who are on this app to go ahead, let's go screw them up. They're trying to do the same thing with silver. Okay. Mind-boggling, just completely mind-boggling to me. I'm not dismissing the power of social media, that's for sure, right? I mean, it's a new concept, and if you have a whole bigger group of people going to do the same thing, it could move the market and could do what it did. Again, if you have 140% of the total shares outstanding as a short, that's a problem too, right? I mean, that is definitely a problem. That should not be happening. You can't have 140% of the total shares outstanding as a short. That becomes a little bit of an issue. So they have to make some changes, and I guess you needed to have this blowout situation happen for changes to come through. Yeah, and then they started yelling at Robinhood for shutting them down so that they don't trade it anymore because they needed to have capital requirements, which nobody understood. Nobody said anything about because it's too complicated to talk to them. What is a what does that mean? Oh, well, that's too complicated. I don't want to know anything about that. They just told me I can't trade it. Yeah, CNBC reported thousands of people started trading because of GameStop. I think they should come here, honestly. I think they should all come and start trading futures. Um, it's not a skewed game. Well, I mean, we show you what to do and how to do it, and then, but instead of listening to some app, I mean, that's the thing here. We don't listen to any app, right? We're not, or I don't have an app that I'm looking at that tells me what to do. And I wouldn't do that anyway. Like I said, everybody's different. So aren't you happy you started me off with that kind of question? All right, so it's good to know that Apple's going to have a car for us to be riding around in. And just imagine the size of that market that they have and where their stock is. I mean, and how much money they already have. I mean, it's crazy. I'm still blaming you. I don't care how you asked the question. You started it. I go off on tangents, and then the tangent I went on because of you. Don't start saying that's all I did. I didn't do anything. All right. Well, at least we market continues to uptick here. We said you want to be out of any shorts if we get above 45, and maybe a little bit of a buy signal there. I know it's a little bit hard to do, and it's going very slow, but there was a little bit of a buy there above the 45. We did get up here to 47, so if you are trading it, if you did buy it above 45, you are take some profits there, 47. These are kind of things that you have to, when I say something like that, it usually means that it's a kind of a little buy area or maybe even a sell area on the downside, depending on the price action, obviously. So keep that in mind. But if you didn't want to be short, maybe you wanted to be long, right? The opposite of short is long. So that's what we tried to do here. Again, I'm not suggesting you do anything. I'm just putting it out there, and it's your choice. And next level on the upside we have is the 52 area. So I used to give out, I give out my levels every morning, right? And one time or twice or whatever, one time I had 4 levels on one side and 5 levels on the other, right? And I get a question or somebody asked me, so you are expecting the market to go down today? I go, what gave you that idea? He goes, well, you had 5 support levels and only 4 resistance levels. It's like, what? What? Literally, that was what the guy said to me. I'm like, wow. Look at people like notice the weirdest stuff. But that's what he said to me. I'm like, okay. No, I didn't intentionally do it. So now I go out of my way to make sure I've got the same amount of resistance and buy levels. That way, nobody's thinking that I'm thinking the market's going to go one way or the other, because I definitely come in here with no bias. Okay. I try to. Doesn't always work. And the reason I come in with no bias is because it's very bad to trade a bias, because if you're wrong that day and the bias is going against you, you keep trading that bias no matter what. So we kind of keep that aspect of trading out of it. Don't have it come in with a bias. Just trade the market wherever it takes us. It takes us, and that way, I mean, we've been long, short here. We've traded both sides of the market, right? And that's what scalpers do. we were short initially. Maybe you got long down at 31. Maybe you held our blue man, you got long at 32. There could have been a case for buying the 38s to get up here to 43. You got short at 43, had a nice rotation down off of the 43. Again, we're playing both sides of the market. We're not. If you could have told me that the market was going to rally, I would have told you, and we would have all been happy. But hey, that's today. It doesn't mean it's going to happen yesterday. Everybody tells me, "Oh, so you guys are long today because the market's going up?" No. That's just some of the stuff I hear when people come into this room. So we just take each day as it comes, each trade as it comes. We work the trade. We try to find the optimal opportunity of entering a level for multiple reasons. And all these reasons that we talk about or that we trade are taught in our education course that we do here online. So if that interests you, if you want to learn new concept, or if you're new to this business and you want to get into it a little bit, get all those thousands of people who started trading GameStop over here, and we can have some fun. I mean, you get bigger leverage here trading futures than you could trading stocks, that's for sure, or even options. No doubt about that. All right, so we've traded the 47, we traded the 37, maybe you bought the 31, maybe you bought the 45s. Different opportunities, all depends on your risk tolerance, how you look at the market. You know, we always say that there's two types of things that you got to do with the trade. You got to recognize the trade, and then you have to execute the trade. Recognition of the trade is one thing, the reasons why you're putting on a trade, how you trade it, how you trade around it, and then the execution part. How you get into it, scaling in, how you get out of it, scaling out, how many contracts you're going to trade. You know, are you going to squeeze things? Or are you not going to squeeze? I mean, there's all, and then there's, and that's called working a trade. I know, Don. I'm sorry. It's not giving you the bounce you're looking for, at least not now. But you never know. It might. All right. Anybody have any questions, thoughts, comments, ideas? You know, tell me I suck or I'm great, whatever. Put them in the chat box area. It's good to know that people are listening. That's all. Even if you say that I suck, it's just fine. At least I know people are listening, because I can talk here, and after I am not the ever-ready battery. I'm just not. It sounds like I am, but after a while, I just peter out. And that's why we focus more on the morning hours. Like I said, morning hours are good for us. The late afternoon gets a little bit more goofy. And I cannot keep talking like this. No way. Yeah, well, there you go. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that comment. I don't resemble it, but I do appreciate it. But hey. Wow. A lot of commentary on this suck comment that I put out there. Very good. I'm glad. See, this, I just like revved you guys up to say some stuff. I appreciate that. See, that's all I needed. I got to say something like that before finally people answer, so that's okay. Super Bowl pick. Great. Well, it ain't LA. Oh, LA didn't make it. Sorry. You know, you go with the young quarterback or you go with the old quarterback. Quarterback of the future or the The Bears, come on. Or do you go with new generation type? I mean, I told you the stat, right? That Brady has been in 18% of all the Super Bowls. Imagine that, one guy, or Super Bowl 55, and he's been in 18% of them. That says something about him, I guess. Coaching, I don't know. Is it him or the coaching? All right, so we've come off to 47 here. Got a new high by a tick. Is that right? Yeah, new high by a tick there. A little bearish. They tried to push it up. They couldn't do it, and whoop, they sold it off. Support would be back around the 37 area. So as far as the question is concerned, I really don't want to bet against Brady, but I think you got to go with Kansas City. And this will be the first time in like ever that I can remember that I'm not having a Super Bowl party. I always had a party. My friends would come over. I had this one friend of mine who always called me the Thursday of Super Bowl week, which would be today, and tell me, "Hey, you're having a Super Bowl party." This guy did it for 20 years. The only time I ever talked to him. And he'd come over to my house. We'd catch up. And I said, I'll see you next Super Bowl. But Thursday of Super Bowl, always calls me up just to confirm that I have a Super Bowl party. And so I'm waiting for a call, but I think he knows that we're probably not going to have one this year. But that's what he did. He has done that to me for 20 years now. Nice guy. I mean, went to high school together, but it's the only time I see him. Nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, it's the one thing if your friends are living out of town. He doesn't live out of town. But hey, it's all right. Comes for free food. Nothing like free food and drink. All right. What is my clerk from my pit days doing these days? She actually she started up a little business, so she's keeping herself busy with that. Obviously, her kids are growing older, and we actually we have a group of friends that I have from the floor, and get together. Well, we used to get together once a year. We still chit chat with one another, wish each other happy birthdays and stuff. But everybody, their life goes on, right? And she did start a small business, and that's obviously. But I don't talk to her that often. But and one of our group of our traders is in the hospital last week. My golf pro friend, who is a really good friend, and he's had some kidney issues. He's got some rare disease, believe it or not, and not going to be good. And the only reason we even found out about it was his birthday, and so we're all sending him like birthday wishes, and he sent us a picture of him being in the hospital. So that started a whole bunch of questions, and then he's actually he's got some rare problem that he actually is going to go to a Mayo Clinic to try to figure out. So that's how rare it is. And unfortunately, there's no cure for it. So I don't know what the deal is. It doesn't sound good. So, but so wish him, he's got good spirits, so that's a good thing. And we're all kind of praying for him. So he's got that going for him. We'll see what happens. It's life, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Thanks there, James. I appreciate that. All right. No, wow. There you go. There, Don. You got what you wanted. The new high buy a tick created this little rotation here to the downside. Now, somebody asked me about, do you add on to trades? If you see something that occurred that gives you a reason to either go long or short, even though it's not a level, even though it's not, this is where you would jump in and say to yourself, I have a reason to trade. And maybe you would want the reason to get short there, like I said earlier, for whatever reason that might be. This was the reason that you could maybe jump in and add to your shorts. And then, like I said, we had support down at 37. Of course, it got down to 39 and change there. No, I haven't heard anything about when the exchange is going to reopen. I would assume it's going to be a while. I mean, considering what they do on the floor and on the pit and how they yell and scream at each other, I don't think that's going to really. I can guarantee you one thing: ain't no mask that's going to stay on somebody's face when they start yelling and screaming at somebody else, and it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So let's just. That one business of all businesses is got to be. Who knew, right? Well, who knew that this was going to be this way? But look, if this thing happened 20 years ago and we couldn't trade, that would have been awful, right? That would have been just terrible. Couldn't really trade online that much. Well, it started online, but the quickness and the volatility would not be there, which might be a good thing. I don't know. But yeah, if it happened 20 years ago, I don't know. It would have been, you didn't have the opportunity to fall back on this stuff. The CBOE is tests with floor traders twice a week. Now, the CBOE is options, right? There's a little bit difference in options trading versus futures trading. They're not as loud. They don't scream as much. I mean, they do. I'm not saying that they don't get involved or something doesn't piss them off, but hey, look, you gotta be cautious. First of all, you need everybody to get a shot, and again, you might still get sick, and what are you gonna put those screens like you see everywhere now in front of somebody? I mean, the whole point of being on the floor and trading on the floor is to yell and scream at somebody else, or yell to put on a trade, right? Can't do that. What kind of fun is that? And then if you have a screen in front of you, that's really not that much fun anyway. Floor trading looks fun. Yeah, it was. It was definitely. I don't know if it was fun. Obviously, it's not fun if you're losing money. And if you could have made it in the business, it was definitely, as somebody, and we still can say the same adage, is the hardest way to make easy money. When you were, if you ever see any movies or clips from trading, and you see people out there with their hands up, yelling and screaming, and shouting, for the layperson who looks in and sees that and says, "Wow, what the hell? How do these people know what they're doing?" I always characterized it as controlled madness. Anybody who was in there knew exactly what's going on. They knew the prices they were trading. They knew what the other person across the pit that was yelling and screaming was saying or doing. Um, and if you're an experienced trader, you knew what was going on. You're looking for opportunities, and it could come from the person next to you, or it could come from somebody across the pit. I traded with everybody, and I traded from every side of the pit. So that's what I was looking for those opportunities everywhere. But some people, only traded with their group of guys that were standing, or girls. There was a handful of girls in the pit. I actually had to stand next to one, which was she was maybe 4'11", maybe weighed like 50 pounds. Okay, 100 pounds. And when you're getting crushed, and I was always like worried about her because people are shoving and pushing into me, and I'm like, oh God, this poor girl's going to get destroyed here, So I always was trying to make sure she doesn't get sandwiched in. It wasn't easy standing next to her, I tell you, but only because I couldn't push back against her. When standing next to some other guy, you just you just kind of push back, but I couldn't do it with her because she, anyway, but yeah, so anybody that was trading knew exactly what was going on, and it was definitely it's going to be a lost art. I don't think it's going to happen, especially with stuff on the screen here electronically. I think the only reason that the floor is there or still on existing is I think for any catastrophic situation that might happen. Let's say the grid goes down and you can't get electricity or something like that. You can always go back onto the floor and trade. So, not the younger whippersnappers that come into the business, they probably don't know how to do it yet, but they'd probably have to call me up and say, "Hey, can you come down here and help us out?" I got no problem. Wasn't the New York Stock Exchange the same way? They transitioned to electronic trading a lot sooner than we did, futures trading. They were electronic for a while. They began it, and I think futures were on the back of the electronic trading that occurred in the equities in the New York Stock Exchange. You traded at the CME. I traded actually at the time at the Board of Trade. Yeah, 37 is support. So I was trading at the Chicago Board of Trade, which eventually merged in with the Merck. I was trading in the bond pit. That's one reason I have the bond prices up there. Well, not prices, but bond chart up there. Sometimes it gives us an opportunity to trade equities, but when we get a big move into bonds, we should see some big moves in equities one way or the other. But as you can tell, there ain't much happening in the bond market, and it hasn't been much happening in the bond market since the government decided to do all this quantitative easing stuff, and they control pretty much the market. The bond market doesn't trade well anymore. Technically, we get much better technical opportunities in the equity market than we do in the bond market. Like I said, the bond market is more skewed to bigger players now. Not the bigger players, but they don't trade technically as well as they used to. It's more one-way trade than it. Here at least there's ebbs and flows in the equity market. You get opportunities to use, to trade trades technically, equities trade technically well. Bond market used to be a really great trade. They're not there anymore. So I like to, look, I traded bonds for a long time. Even when they went on the screen, I tried to trade bonds, and because that's where my bread and butter was for many years. And then finally I said, okay, just not the same anymore. And so I stopped trading bonds because they just, They used to be good, but not anymore. So who knew that this after 2007 with the financial crisis that we've been in this thing for 13, 14 years and bond market has not come back because with all the MBSs and bond buying and quantitative easing, government basically runs the bond market. So it's one reason I don't trade the forex because it's like more government banks buying. Forex is more traded with the banks than anybody else. It's like it's okay. You guys want to run around, do whatever you want. You can move the market around whichever way you want. They're always getting in first, and then telling people what should be happening with the dollar or the yen or whatever, and they're already in. And then they put out the word, and then everybody else jumps on it. But they made their profit. It's just like Goldman. Goldman would do the same thing, right? Somebody asked me about Goldman yesterday. They do the same thing. They always know what's going to happen, and then I mean, they have smart people, one, but they also have ends. Not saying that they don't know what they're doing. I'm just saying that they do have a lot of ends with a lot of people who create policy that create profits, right? That's why that's why these firms are always giving money to politicians, because if you can drive policy a certain way, you can definitely make money off of that policy making opportunities. All right, so we've basically rotated down. We hit support at 37. Am I saying they have inside information? Wow, that's a loaded question. Just leave it a loaded question. Let's put it this way. If we had the information they had, we probably would never have a losing day. Oh, wait. Goldman went 4 years without having a losing day trading futures. Gee, how'd that happen? Shh, I did not say anything. As Brad would say, they got the black SUVs parked in front of my house now. I was going to say in front of the Port of Trade. No, that's not happening anymore. All right. All right, so you can see here we've gotten a little bit of a range. We've had a few good opportunities this morning. Hopefully you were able to take advantage of some of them. We focus more on the morning hours. It gives us good opportunities, good ebbs and flows, good reaction to levels, I think, more than the late afternoon trade does. And especially with tomorrow being unemployment, we've had a really nice trade come into today. And hopefully you're able to trade around the levels that we had. We had a couple momentum trades, a couple fades against our levels, a couple opportunities there to buy the pivot. Well, one opportunity to buy the pivot. Again, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. We are trading futures, and right now things have slowed down a lot, but we've had a few nice opportunities this morning in a very slow market, which hopefully some of you have taken advantage of and made your money for the day. And now we're just kind of probably sidewinding here a little bit, as the market is going to probably wait for the unemployment number to be released, unless they get somebody leaks a number today. Leaks, what does that mean? I don't know. But anyway, if that, you might get a little bit of a reaction. But again, most of the reaction, if anything like that happens, it's all going to be one-way trade, which again makes it very difficult to trade. And that's why we kind of stay away from late afternoon trade, as it gets much more one-sided. At least we have a little opportunity. We had some nice opportunities this morning with ebbs and flows, and the trade in the afternoon, especially with unemployment tomorrow, that might be a little bit quiet the rest of the day. If you look at the chat box area, those are levels that we gave out this morning prior to the opening. Those are kind of used as a guideline for the rest of the day. You can see here a couple of resistance areas there at 37 and 43 worked very nicely for us to scalp the market. Unemployment number is the big number that's coming out tomorrow. That's the initial claims number, not initial claims, the non-farm payrolls number that everybody will be looking at. Does anybody have an idea what they're expecting? I mean, I could look it up. I just didn't look it up, and it's not usual. I usually find it in my commentary, but it wasn't in there today. Does anybody have any idea what they're expecting for non-farm payrolls? I mean, I could find out. Which is what the market actually looks at, more than the percentage number, is the non-farm payrolls number, which I don't know if that's going to be, I don't know. We'll see what happens, which way it goes. But yeah, by the time we start, though, 50,000, that's it, I guess. Okay, I guess it's better than a big loss. I take it that's positive 50,000. Small number, so I guess they're not expecting much. So 50,000. That's what they're expecting tomorrow. That's a very small number, but hey, you know what? Maybe that's good. Maybe up 50,000 is better than. Yeah, so it's very small. Somebody else told me 62. So, and like I said, the percentage rate is totally irrelevant. That is not. It's not really a number that people look at least not the market players. Not what we're going to be looking at. So anywhere between very small, 50 to 60. How's that? Pulse 50 to 60. If it comes negative, well, I mean, how could anything happen, positive or negative? Because as far as us, what it affects us, especially since we have this, stimulus thing in the background that the market is going to be, holding its hat on. The question is going to be, once the stimulus package is passed one way or the other, and obviously the number is going to be the issue, but it looks like Biden's going to pass a good number, and seems like all the Democrats are going to be behind him. There's a couple that are concerned about the number, how big it is, but if he gets it passed and it's a decent sized number, then what happens to the market? Because you have to assume that the market is up here on the rumor that this number is going to be passed, right? That they're going to have a stimulus, it's going to be passed. And so the question is, what happens to the market after that? This is like the buy the rumor situation, right? The rumor here is that this thing's going to be passed. The question is it time for a sell off, right? If the number comes out, I mean, what else is the market holding its hat on? I don't know. We'll see, right? We'll see. We'll see what happens. But again, you got to remember, we traders want markets to go down, right? We have a lot more volatility. Volatility comes into the can you guys hear me all right? Somebody's saying that they can't hear me anymore. Can you guys still hear me? Yeah. Okay. So somebody's sent me a message saying that they can't. I'm talking, but they can't hear me, or he's assuming I'm still talking, but he can't hear me. So okay. So it's not our end. You never know with my with these computers, right? It's like your car. You get into your car in the next few years, and it doesn't tell you why it's starting. It just won't start. Anyway, but okay, good. So yeah, so the question is going to be what's going to happen to the stock market when they I don't have to do anything. And you know whose problem? Don is the one having the problem. Could you imagine what he's doing to his computer right now because he can't hear me? Don's like probably throwing it against the wall and going to buy a new one. He probably has like 10 of them in boxes just sitting there. Well, not 10 because he always has to get the newest model, but he's got like a few of them just sitting there because every time it doesn't work. Just opens up a new one. On a horse. All right, so they kind of held there. You can see here, you could have made a small case for buying it above the 44 area if you were very aggressive. Again, you kind of let the market kind of create the opportunity, right? The market creates the opportunity. We don't create the trade. The market creates the trade for us. And you could have made a very good, clear case for buying the 44 area here. So a little bit of a push up here, and we're coming up here to 46. So again, if you were a little aggressive, looking for a momentum trade, could have been able to let the market dictate your opportunities. I keep saying that we don't let the market. We don't tell the market what to do, obviously. So consequently, we always try to let the market tell us what to do. And if we can learn to do that, to keep you out of trouble, right? Because if you put on a position and you think the market's going to go your way and you don't have a good reason for it, probably not going to go your way. Can we repeat the levels in the chat box area, please? If we can reprint them. If you're looking for the levels today that we gave out this morning, they're going to be in the chat box area. So we use that, like I said, for a guide, but then those are just the preliminary numbers, and then there's price action opportunities that occur once the market paints some bars, and we've had a few price action opportunities today in this very small, tight little range that we've had, but it's going to give us some good opportunities. Now you have to remember that we've had, this is what, 15, and we got down to 32, 31, 30. So 15-point range. We used to have 15-point ranges in a course of a day, and that was like a lot, 20-point ranges, and that was our day. Now we can see here we get those kind of quickly in a couple hours. But that's what we used to get, and we used to, that was a good trade. And now we get a lot of volatility, and then we have to adjust to make sure your stops are in. And we know that we're going to get opportunity because the market is moving around, even though it's a little tight range. It's given us multiple opportunities here, and so got to be happy about that today. On a relatively slow kind of day, but it's not out of hand. It's trading, staying focused on what we're doing, and giving us some good opportunities. All right. Anybody have any questions? Please feel free to ask. It's a good time to ask questions. I like questions. As you can tell here, we're kind of range bound. I think if we get above 48, 49 area, we'll have a run up to the 52, which is our next level of resistance. The support right now would be, well, you can see here kind of leveled out there at the 39. I wouldn't touch that anymore. Probably look for the I think if we get below 38, you definitely don't want to be long. Probably rotate down to 35 and even back down to 30. Our pivot there at 31. But we have to get below 38 area. Upside, above 50, 48, 49. I look for the 52. And right now, considering they sucked out a lot of the volatility, it's going to be just hanging here in this little range bound area. You never know. You never know what opportunities you're going to get, but they definitely sucked out some volatility. As you can tell, it's definitely slowed down. All right, seems like it wants to uptick here a little bit. Got to get on the other side. Again, it has to get above 48, 49 for us to think that we're going to go up to the 52 area. I would expect to sell, yeah. Or if you get long there, you can. That would be a target. If you get long around here, and that would be a target to get up to 52. But yeah, 52 would be our next resistance area.
Hey, a couple quick programming notes. How's my voice coming through? Those that are joining us on the outside, look for the link and join us on the inside. Should see a link for PITIQ.TV. For those that are in Zoom, hey Ben, if you haven't and you're new to our service, like Candy and a couple other ones, if you have any questions about our services and how this service directly impacts your trading, just send me a quick chat message, to everybody, and just let me know any specific questions. Hey, Anupam, did you get today's levels? So let me know back in chat. Hey, Baron T, welcome. Ben, let me know when you process so I can help you. So I've got so this is for everybody out there. Sol frames a series of levels. Hey, Richard C, I agree with you. And William F, I'm not sure what that means. And Prasad, if you want to join us on the inside, just pop in, ask your questions. Look for the link. It's good questions. Hey, Ben, good question. So I'll wait for a few questions to come through. I'll also give you a quick overview of what this is and what this is not. Everything we do is for educational purposes only. Nothing is to be taken as direct trading advice. You're trading between you and your broker based on your own risk. Having said that, this opportunity is for individuals to learn how to scalp the market so that they can develop consistent profitability, which is, it takes time. It takes a couple things. It takes a trading plan. In this case, we call it price action trading. It's been around for a long time. It really is an opportunity to focus on where the profit and potentially the loss is, but certainly at the price action level of the trade, which is price movement, the actual price movement that is happening right now in the S&P 500 E-mini. So let's think about some of the deliverables and why you would pick staying here or coming in here on a daily basis or when you can attend. The first one is that you are interacting and communicating with a veteran trader that is a CME Group Floor member. That's a pretty big deal. If you look that up on the internet, you'll get a sense of what the CME Group is and the trading pits in Chicago. So Saul Shaul is your host. He's been trading the market for 25 years or so in an environment which I consider a pretty rough and tumble environment, the CME Group trading floor in Chicago, the trading pits. He has a private booth that is waiting for him to go back to if he so chooses after the pandemic. And he has developed a strategy to scalp or trade the market intraday that he is showcasing here. So he's the first deliverable. For you to get questions answered by somebody who's got a better shot at knowing than some of these characters that are on the internet. Then he has his strategy, which is a price action strategy that starts out with what we believe is a trading advantage over other traders by mapping out areas that Sol believes prices will change favorably for him based on his trades at those levels. And the second deliverable is he delivers them out to you. Okay, he delivers them out to you in audio or based on a repeat. So I'm going to read those levels out to you now. This is what he gave out pretty close to the cash open at 9:30 Eastern time. Right now it's 11:11 a.m. on Thursday, February 4th, 2021. So his levels, he had the pivot at 38.31, 38.31. He had support at 24, 18, 11, 04, and 37.94. 37.94. He had resistance at 37, 43, 52, 62, and 69. So those are the levels that he started with today as opportunity points where he believes the market's going to make change and he has a trading advantage by laying at those levels ahead of time, and he looks to count on those levels for his opportunity points, and he'll look to do trades in and around those areas if appropriate based on market action, momentum, follow through, and price change. So let's think about that for a second. That's the second deliverable. First deliverable is Sol himself. I guess the third deliverable when you become a member of this service, and that actually might be, let's say that's the second deliverable, or this is the second deliverable, is that you can ask for a trading consultation, like where you are now in your trading, the things you might change based on your current trading to make you trade better, and also ask the question about, do I have the right software to do this business? Or is there a better software to choose to do this business? Is there a better brokerage to choose to do the business that I'm trying to do? And as you might be well aware, there's a lot of consternation out there about brokerage firms, whether it's the ones in stocks or the ones that are generally out there, and then the specific ones for fast trading, which this is a fast trading environment. So that's another deliverable that puts you way ahead of the game based on what's available not only out there, but what you're currently doing right now and the things you could change to help you become a profitable trader. And when I'm saying profitable, I'm talking about against your seat fee, your commission structure, the commissions you pay on your trades. Seat fee includes opportunity costs, minimum wage, beating the minimum wage numbers for getting a regular job, having a trading business. Trading business is, or trading, hobby, trading business, or trading is pretty tough. In this case, you're able to stand on the shoulders of people that have already been where you are, and in a lot of cases, looking to improve and end up in the area of consistent profitability versus their current trading routine. So now we all know people can go to their screen and trade. God knows everybody's trying it, right? But there's a very few people that can consistently make money at it enough to stay trading. A lot of times there's a slow burn of your time and effort and the patience of others around you, and also the burn of your capital. And you don't want to be in a situation where you start to fizzle out, even though you might not notice it. So, what's different here? What makes this a place to stay and spend your time and look to develop a trading career, trading success, and stay on the right track of that success? We have individuals that come in here and learn from Saul, which is great. And they comment every once in a while that Sol keeps them on the right side of profitability because of their ability to interact, ask questions when they're confused. And that's interesting because think of the confusion. When you're alone and you're up against it and you're trading, wherever you are in the world, you're alone. You might join chat rooms and all sorts of other places, which I tell you right now, we're not big fans of because it's a bunch of people that are trying to make friends with other people that are in the trading industry, but they are not successful traders. They know the lingo, they know how to talk about it, they interact, they talk about charts, they talk about all sorts of, various spins on the market. But from a profitability point of view, that ship has sailed for them and they're just biding their time for whatever reason. Here, Sol is a active trader based on his levels that he gives you out at 9:30. Once you get those levels, you can put them in your software, load them into your software. You can write them on your trading pad. You can load them into your software, and then you can witness whether they're any good or not. And when you listen to his commentary based on what's happening this trading day, this trading morning, you start to pick up a real sense of not only what the opportunity is, but how it relates to you when it comes to your trading. And you start to develop that sixth sense based on price movement. So, I mean, I think that that's the deliverables that are part of what this is and what the opportunity is. The other thing you have to make very clear is that the morning session is the target zone here. Right now, we're coming into 11:18 a.m. There are many individuals utilizing Sol's price action trading methodology and strategy that are part of this room that are done for the day. They have completed their mission, they have banked their money, they are happy as clans when it comes to the rest of the trading day or the rest of the year. Let's say there's the trading morning, and then there's a trading day, I guess, if it's the trading morning. And then there's everything else that you do with your life after that time. So, key thing to think, to think on here is that this is a learning opportunity for individuals. The learning opportunity is broken down into sections of the day. So the first opportunity in the morning is to come in, receive Sol's levels in audio, load them into your trading software, go through the morning session with Sol, ask questions where appropriate based on the trade, interact with Sol based on what's happening, learn from that interaction as it applies back to the areas and that trading activity, listen to him as he sort of scopes out what's happening and relates that to you based on areas to be careful of, areas to look for, areas where he believes the market is going to stay below or above based on how it's behaving at that time, at that moment, based on that volume and follow through. And the target zone, you know, the beef is at his levels. So people are done for the day, could be trading right around Sol's pivot, his price, the 38.31. Could have been at any of the other areas based on his support and resistance. Those become the concentration areas. But remember, very important, is that market is alive. It is fluid. It is reacting to things. It is full of all sorts of patterns. And a lot of those patterns are created, in our humble opinion, from individuals out there other than us, okay, that are utilizing standardized software for their trading. And they are actually creating because they don't really, I guess they find out later, but when you are counting on software and counting on that software to be your friend when it comes to your trading business, even if you mentalize it so much so that you start to create, I think you might consider or have to believe that there are a lot of traders out there trying to mentalize on standardized software, and they end up in a situation where they're banging their heads against each other because there's so many of them. What's the viva la difference with Saul? Is that his levels are his levels that are different in most cases. Sometimes they might be close or you might hit one every once in a while, but they are different than the way that these things are mapped out in standardized software. And it's standardized software, in our opinion, leads people astray and also gives them a sense of confidence because it looks cool. Charts are cool. The indicators are cool. You know, the concentration could be or should be, and obviously that's our humble opinion, is, your order entry, you got to get really good at the ability to place stops and then adjust your stops based on price movement. And then really, Saul's charts are just placeholders for his levels and could be for your levels. So the stepping stone here is to come in as a guest, like it or not like it, depending on your interests. If you don't like it, go away. We don't, um, we feel for you, but it's your choice in everything that you do. So if you come in as a guest and you just don't like it, then go off and do something else. Then you have the opportunity to transition into a monthly subscriber to, to this service on a daily basis so you can come and go as you please. And that is nominal compared to the opportunity in trading, and nominal anyway, because I believe on a daily basis you learn something here that you don't know or you get clarification on that is worth almost any price if you're a serious contender to develop consistent profitability in your trading. And then after you become a monthly member, you take your time. You receive Sol's levels as you receive Sol on a daily basis again as deliverable 1. You can ask us to help you get set up properly, which is deliverable 2. Deliverable 3 is Sol's proprietary scalping levels, which individuals just pay for. Um, and then it's the information and the dialogue about the trade that is occurring during the morning session. And then obviously the questions and answers that you ask and that are responded to by Sol. And then the uptick based on this service is the ability to work with Sol privately and personally and be a student in his class when you're ready. You don't have to transition into that person. You can stay as a monthly and get all the benefits of the monthly. If you're coming into the service, and this is just a programming note, if you're coming into the service for a period of time and you haven't paid or updated yourself to the monthly, then we have a bot. It's an AI bot, and it gets a read of individuals that have come in over a period of time and haven't signed up for the monthly, and it exits you automatically and puts you into Zoom jail. Now, nobody wants to go to Zoom jail because it really stinks. But the point is that, the AI is out of our control. it just sort of takes over. So don't be offended if you get exited, um, because you're not switching over to join us on a monthly basis based on Sol's nominal fee. So just make sure you don't end up in that category, because that's not a fun place to be. And it is an interesting place to be, but you just don't want to be there. Now, every once in a while, the a doctor of trading distress comes in as a guest. We're not sure when that's going to happen. That could be at any time. It's really an honor to have him show up and provide us with his wisdom. And he is not a medical doctor, but he is a doctor of trading distress, which includes, some various, key information. Some of it can be the psychological part of trading. Sometimes he can bring wisdom to those that have been struggling with trading for a long time and are seeking out the consistent profitability part of their trading career. So, and sometimes he plays music. I mean, sometimes, he just wants people to relax and reflect on their trading opportunity and the trades that they have done today and the trades they wish they had done or the trades they wish they got out of. So, if you do have the experience to have the doctor in the house, then make sure you give him a shout out and welcome him. So there's a lot that goes on here. There's a lot of opportunity. If you like what we're doing here, tell your friends. We'll reach out to the doctor and see if he can stop by. Right now, he is on vacation. He is sequestered on vacation in a tropical place that he has not told us where he is. He's either skiing, he loves Park City, and he likes the tropical areas, but he likes sort of the unknown, sort of uncharted, and that sometimes he doesn't have the internet to tap into us, but we're going to have to see. So, anyway, so I digress. So, if you are new, I will raise your hand if you'd like to understand what it takes to be here on a monthly basis. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to post them. Join the family so that you can receive the receivables that are part of the service on a daily basis. And again, if you're coming in from the outside, join us on the inside. Hey, George, welcome. So, Ben, we had a question. Are the levels? So the levels are support and resistance. Well, Saul lays the levels out that way. So you have the pivot in the middle, and then you have numbers on top and bottom. These are the areas where Saul is looking at the market to make change. Now, as price change happens, there is a change up that could happen based on whether the levels are still valid. Okay. If the level has been approached once, is it a valid a second time? So these are nuances that you're here for and here to pick up, but he lays them out as support and resistance. Now, when he talks about his levels, he talks about them as areas where he is interested in doing a trade based on price action. So price action, we're going to call that the movement of the S&P 500 E-mini based on price change that's happening right now. So that price change is happening. His levels are fixed areas. And as the market changes and those levels come into play, he has, like, he goes on high alert, right? He is looking at making money at that level. He may dismiss it based on the action of price. He may go all in based on the action of price. So let's talk about what that means, which I think is very critical for individuals that are looking to develop consistent profitability. And again, we know people can trade, but we're looking at the idea of doing 2, 3, 4, 5 trades and having banked your money for the day to be able to walk away from the trading table if you want to relate it to gambling. There's gamblers, places are full of them, but there's only a handful of people that know what's going on, and they are able to understand the odds, the rules of the game, the hot and cold part of the table, for themselves, and reading the dealer, if you will. And then some of them actually count cards, but I don't think they're allowed to go anymore. But the point is that trading is similar. You got to be good at it. You got to know what you're doing. You've got to be able to react when necessary. You got to be able to pull back when necessary. You got to be able to add additional contracts if you really got what you need based on the trade and how it's working out. The ability to add contracts or start out with multiple contracts and then take those contracts off and adjust your order entry to cut, to adjust your stop. These are things that are highly important in trading and highly important in not only your success in trading, but the ability to develop consistent profitability. The old story, you got to know when to hold them and you got to know when to fold them. Well, that's so let's talk about that moment in time. So the market opens up at 9:30. Right now it's 11:33. At 9:30 Eastern time, there is a bell that goes off, right? And the market starts to have additional flow come into it based on the concept of the bell. So there's momentum, follow through, there's a personality of the market. There could be a whippy day, there could be a orderly day, there could be all sorts of things happening that you can identify after the bell. Might take a couple bars, might take a couple more bars, but you can develop an innate sense based on paying attention to it of what's happening today. Now, as a business person, man or woman, you're coming into the market with the concept of trading and making money today. But you also have to have in mind the days where you don't trade, where you do a couple trades and have to stop because it's not working. There are a lot of factors based on teaching, and it's part of what we do here. There's a lot of factors to make money in the S&P 500 E-mini or any, particular trading instrument where you have to have a innate sense or develop or work on leading to an innate sense about what kind of day it is. You also have to be very careful that you're not pressurized to do a trade. A lot of people feel like because they've opened up their computer and they've sat in front of it, and maybe, I don't know why people do this, is that people try to come up with a trading plan for the day. And as soon as the bell goes off, there's no trading plan. Okay, there is just no trading plan. It's like planning for a battle. And as soon as the first shots are fired, the whole plan goes out the window. So, what you want to do is understand, be ready, be, you know, schooled, be prepared, have the tools, have practiced those tools so that when you go into battle and all hell breaks loose based on what the market's doing, that you have an orderly opportunity to make hay out of that day. And let's just list what those are. First off, you should be prepared based on order entry. You should have your charts up. And if you look at Sol's charts, they're very minimal, but they're charts. You should have the ability to load prices into your software. We can help you with that. Just join the family. You should have a robust speed trading type setup on your computer with a good internet connection. You should have your broker's telephone number on speed dial or quick email dial. Okay. A lot of times when the crap hits the fan, these brokers are nowhere to be seen. So you want to have a broker that is someplace to be seen so you can defend yourself and your capital, okay, in a smart manner. Then it solves levels. In this case, Sol's levels could be your levels. If Sol's levels are better than everybody else's levels, then you're way ahead of the game. Way ahead of the game. The pivot, load into the software, your software. The other levels on top and bottom of it, load into your software. Be prepared to do that. Do it quickly and accurately. Learn what that means. Join the family. And then see how the market behaves on the first couple bars. Then make a decision based on your risk profile for that day against what the market is giving you based on today's or tomorrow's personality of the market. Momentum, follow through. How are the levels behaving? Is the market crazy? Is there something coming out that may impact the market that you are or you should be aware of? So you're not trading around that time. So you're not in a position at that time. So you're not surprised at that time. So trading is a taught discipline. And in this case, you're standing on the shoulder of somebody that's been doing this for 25 years or so and is trading currently. There's a lot of, somebody had called me the other day about doing a webinar in somebody else's venue to bring Sol into the webinar. And it was a bunch of people that, were great on the old talking part and the after hours, let's look at the chart stuff. And it wasn't worth the time. Sol's working with you. Sol's trading. So this is his give back. And it also, and some people ask, like, why does he do this? Wow, 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 wow. And I understand it. I ask the same question. And the why he does this is it keeps him, I'm not going to say young, okay, but I'm going to say current. I'm going to say sharp as a tack when it comes to paying attention. Being able to answer questions based on the reality of what's happening is a real knack on his part, but his gives him a reason to do it. And it keeps him on the edge when it comes to his craft, on the good side, the good edge, in his craft. So this helps him keep current, helps him focus, it helps him with ideas that you express, and it keeps him, he hopes, on the right side of profitability by being part of a group of individuals. We also get questions, what I think is really important is about why this isn't an open chat situation. Now, we've wrestled with that for a long time, but it always came back to the concept of, and I hate to say this, is that most people have no idea what they're doing or how to make money, but they have a great ability to communicate all sorts of trading lingo and interesting things about trading. But if it doesn't add to if I made money today, right, and I can walk away from my screen, it's not helpful. Your questions go right to Sol, and he has the opportunity to either answer those questions or not. And if it adds to what's happening based on the current opportunity level or trade, right, then he will respond and he will give you kudos for that. Not cooties, kudos. So think about that for a second. This is a opportunity for you to communicate with him. It's an opportunity for him to communicate back to you, even though sometimes you don't know. Like if you hear something, you may not know what it relates to because somebody else asked the question. And then there's the time, and this is also something that has been brought up, is it's very hard to fill airtime that's not around a trade. Now, Sal does a pretty good job with it. He does, and I'll tell you why he does it, which I think is interesting, is that while you're waiting for your levels to come into play, it's tough because people want to trade, they want to make money. It's like a casino, right? You come in and you're like, yeah, yeah, I want to make some money today. Yeah, yeah, I want to do better than yesterday. And that's all great. But you don't want to be lulled or tricked into doing a trade that you shouldn't be doing. An iffy trade, a trade that's just a gamble, whether it's a 50-50 coin flip. You want to do a trade that gives you an advantage over other traders and the ability to bank that money based on that particular trade at that particular time for that particular reason. And if it works out, great, great. If it doesn't, you take it off and you wait for the next one. But during that time, there's a lot of time, right? And Saul fills in that time with some news, some conversation, and that type of thing. But you have to believe that he is really focused at the same time with what's happening based on price movement and price change. So I think that's really important for you to know that if you pop in and there's conversation going on, what you should do, and I think this is also a key thing that I don't see as often as, um, and so it's just a clue in to do it, is that at the end of the morning session, you should ask Saul for what happened today and how the levels worked and how he did in his trading. And he'll give you a rundown of that, which I think is key. The other thing is when you come in, and let's say your timing is whatever your timing is, and you come into the service, you can ask for a repeat of the levels, which is great, and you can get them. But you can also ask for what's happening. And you will get a response from Saul if he is there. He could be off doing something, but if he's there, he'll give you a response about what is happening and how the market is behaving, and how you could even ask him how the levels have been doing. So there's a dialogue that you can have with him that is a very positive dialogue so that you can catch up to the mood of the market and the personality of the market before you look to enter trades in based on the levels and what you're looking to do for yourself for today. And tomorrow and what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Friday. That's right. Tomorrow is Friday. So that's what we do. And that's what the opportunity for you is based on these services. So Candy, hopefully that helped you. Hey George, are you signed up for Saul's his monthly? Just let me know back in chat. I can send you if you raise your hand. I'll send you the link. Ben, I know you're working on yours. Hey Greg H, welcome. James C. Hey George, I'll send it out to you now. George, that's for you. Candy, I'll send it out to you. Now, if you do it, let me know so I can authorize you in the background. James C. I'm not sure about you, James. Let me send it out to you. If you're all ready, let me know, okay? JS, same. I'll send it out to you, JS. If I'm screwing up names, just let me know. Michael R. Send it out to you, Michael R. Pedro, you are. Peter O, you are. Robert B. Robert B. Roop. Sam P. Sam, I think you are, right? I'll send it to you anyway, Sam, but I think you are. Just let me know back in chat, okay? It's always a good reminder for me. And Vasilos, I'm sending that to you, okay? Take a moment and get it done. I'll be here to answer any of your questions. If anybody needs a trading consultation, let us know. If you have any questions about your platform or that type of thing, join the family. We'll be glad to help you out. It's nominal at best. And if I missed anybody, raise your hand. Hey, Glenn. How are you? Joel, how are you? KG, Kurt. Hey, Kurt, do you think that we're going to have an appearance of I think the doctor of trading distress is getting Elon Musk's internet. I don't know what he calls it, but it's I think you can get it from Fiji. Robust internet. If he calls in or he gets in, then I'm sure he's going to be listening to some of that island music. But I think he'll have either a nice aged rum. Yeah, it could be a nice aged rum. Nice dark rum. And depending on what type of day, what time of the day it is. But he might have some with his orange juice. I don't know. Hey, Chad, how are you? Hey, Chad, how was class yesterday? Saul holds his classes, during the afternoon session. He does a room sweep and then holds class with his charts. And it relates to what happened that day, how the levels worked, how to set the levels, what to do with the levels, in a one-on-one-ish environment, which is great. So I know I owe somebody a call for that today. Ron, right? Hey, Peter O. I think, Peter, you were in the class yesterday too, right? I think Maureen was there. Robert B. was there. I saw that yesterday. Trying to think who else was there. I don't think, Timothy, you weren't there, right? Yeah, Pedro, you'd have to join the class as a separate so you're qualified to talk about the class. We can have a trading consultation and you can ask about the class. But yes, you were definitely everybody's qualified for the class. But is a it's a separate it's an intensive. Call it an intensive. And you're more, he's got some great deals on his class. So if anybody's interested, join the family and then ask about the class because he's got some great discounts on that now. And he's got a great group of monthlies, and he's got a nice group of individuals that are part of his class. And the feedback that I get is that they really enjoy it. They are able to come in the next day and apply what they learned and be able to interact with Sol during that also. The class lasts for a year. That is the format. So the class time lasts a year. I mean, it's not like you're in class and you can't leave for a year. That would be a little troubling. Unless you were with the doctor of trading distress in Fiji and you had the setup to be able to connect based on robust internet connection, you could be in class for a year. That'd be pretty cool. Even though I think people get tired being on the island that long, to be in that environment that long. I don't know if that's true because I haven't experienced it, but I think you gotta, they call it not island sickness. There's another name where you get crazy, and that might be only if you were, out and about elsewhere after, during some point of your life. I know there was an article about a woman that retired to Mexico, and she gave all these pointers on, what it takes to leave the U.S. and retire to Mexico, and how, you know, amazing it is and how beautiful it is. In one area that she went to, I can't remember the area, she lived there for a year and she couldn't take it anymore because of the rain. So it was just magnificently beautiful because of the rains, but she just didn't like the idea that during whatever season it was, it just rained like crazy. And she just didn't like that anymore. So she moved back to some of the various cities which are have a bunch of expats at or expats, in the area where she could have that kind of life and experience. The other thing she talked about was healthcare, that you really have to be in an area where they actually have, doctors that you can count on. So I will be in the background if anybody needs me. Ron, I'll ring you up in a couple minutes here and we can chat about what you want to chat about. Anybody else, let me know. You can raise your hand, you can signal, you can write a question. I'll be glad to follow up with you personally and privately. Sam P, you are part of Sal's Monthly, right? I'm having this memory. JS, let me know. James C, let me know. George P, I know you're working on it. Candy M. So it could get quiet in the afternoon here. We're coming up on 12. If you're joining us on the outside, join us on the inside. Look for the link to come in, pitiq.tv, pitiq.tv. Hey, a couple quick programming notes. For those that are joining us on the outside, join us on the inside in Zoom. Look for the link. You can get there by going to pitiq.tv. That's pitiq.tv. For those that are on the inside, if you want me to send out that link to sign up for Sol's Monthly, let me know. Be glad to do that. Just raise your hand. If you want to ask some questions about it, don't hesitate. Put it in the chat area. Right now we're into the afternoon. Right now it's 12:14 p.m. Focus here is on the S&P 500 E-mini. So if you want to develop a skill set to learn how to trade the market as a living, then join us. We're going to exit the outside, but don't hesitate to join us on the inside.